evening, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday edition of the Business Power Hour with Darren, Dimples, and the Music Man. Me. Hey, Dimps.
Hey, Mr. Music Man. How you doing this evening?
What's going on?
How are you?
Well, good. What's it? Two ladies. This is a true story. These two ladies at a network meeting came over to me, and he said, your show was really good, but we missed Dimples. Good evening, everybody. I just got the finger from Jim.
It's all part of the story.
Right.
Hey everybody, it's Darren from the Business Power Hour. I'm not going to be in the studio tonight. I'm traveling.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Business Power Hour with Darren and the Music Man, except Darren's not here.
I'm here.
No,
I'm
you're
right
not
here.
Does anybody see that? Darren is not here. Darren is away.
I am right here, right
quiet
next to
for
you.
a second. You're not here. What? I don't know if you got lucky.
Not the really interesting question.
That's a fantastic question, Norman.
Wow. See, I got fantastic.
This
You
is
just got good. I got fantastic.
Show's about him, so let's focus on that.
We are.
Were you drinking before the show?
Oh Jesus! Oh Jesus!
There we go. We got it.
It's good.
No, it's
Now we got flood.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
smother it.
So, I think he has a music thing.
It's making noise.
It's making music.
Is it?
Yeah. That's so sweet. That's so sweet of you, Darren.
By the way, this is a Yankee station.
It's a
Thank
Yankee
you.
station, John.
Thank you.
It's a Yankee station.
All right.
Unfortunately,
We got bugs in here. What's going on?
I don't know.
Do you spray? Get
You
an
know what? It's
exterminator?
that time of year where you're getting bugs and stuff. As long as we don't have bees, I'm good.
Yeah, all right. That's
But
We have a lot of undulations out in the field. Undulations.
Is that a wine?
it's,
What the hell is undulation?
Fred, don't use big words. Hey, right? So this.
Help.
I gotta give him a cough button, Jim. What do you think?
Cough
button
would be a good idea. Consider that a good question that he asked?
Great question.
There you go. I got
Pythons
one.
and brains.
You're double D?
I'm double D. Show's about him, so let's focus on that.
We are. Hey, give me some loving.
How are you, Music Man?
Hello, Darren. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm
this week.
absolutely convinced. I'm absolutely convinced that
telling
you
you.
got some kind of brain damage when you had that thing last year.
I'm telling you, and he called. And
Not classy, but classy.
Seeing interviews by Darren and the Music Man. Ladies and gentlemen, Darren Siafi and Norman Wasserman.
Let's do this. Yeah. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Are we on, Darren?
Yes, we are. I don't know where we're getting that other stuff from.
I don't know. Nice to see you.
I know. Nice to see you too. I don't know what's going on, my friend. Give me a second here. Oh, I see what's happening.
I'm screwing up.
I'm screwing up, man.
Oh, you're screwing up.
That was me. That was me.
All right, well,
All right. How
Was
are
that
you,
enough?
sir? Welcome to another wonderful edition. I said edition this time.
no, now you're free.
How you been this week?
Says your internet connection is unstable.
Well, yeah, you are unstable, but that's
I said the
beside.
connection's unstable.
I gotcha. I
Did you
gotcha.
drink that whiskey before the show started?
Did I drink the whiskey?
Yeah,
I
that
chugged the
bottle
whiskey
keep
before
on
the
that
show
drawer on your
started.
left-hand side towards the back by your desk.
That's exactly it. I'm not
Uh-huh.
telling anybody what's there.
Okay. Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Business Power Hour with Darren and the Music Man. We have a pretty intense show tonight for anyone that happens to be a business owner or
Mhm.
plans on being a business owner, whether it's small, medium, or large-sized business. We have two really, really super guests that we'll get to in just a second. But Darren, tell me, how was your week?
Very busy, as you know. We're all hearing about the COVID-19 and all these unfortunate people that are succumbing to it and all this other stuff. But one of the other bigger stories out there that really isn't getting a lot of attention are these. What I mean by small business owners are these business owners that they have 3, 4, 5, 6 employees, or, you know, they're individuals like yourself that are trying to run a company, and you guys are struggling because you're basically shut down, right, Norman? I mean, your businesses are basically shut down at this time.
Totally.
Totally, right?
Totally.
So,
For those of you who don't know both businesses that I have, I am a headhunter. I am a corporate recruiter, and not too many people are hiring anyone these days. Got a lot of applicants, got an awful lot of applicants. And my concert business is I've postponed 6 or 7 shows. I postponed and or canceled 6 additional ones today.
wow.
I mean,
Wow.
that's, you know, that's crazy. Now,
Yeah, I mean, this thing has taken on a life of its own, and you know, a lot of people are struggling through not only what you're going through right now, because I know, you know, you got PPP issues, you got, you know, the EIDL issues, all these other things, trying to get money, and you know, you hear these horror stories about these big companies getting a lot of money, and like Shake Shack got $10 million, and then they gave it back.
well, that was nice of them to go and do.
It was nice of them to do that, but you know,
Harvard,
they went in.
Harvard gave back their money today too.
Yeah, so you know, you're hearing all these stories about, well, how come they ran out of money, and then you're hearing they gave out 10 million to this company, and those companies didn't need it, and you know, everybody's just trying to dig into this pot, and you know, you get these smaller guys that are looking for 50, 30, 20, 30, $50,000, and they can't get it.
How about 10? They're looking for $5,000 or $10,000 just to make ends meet. Now, we discussed today that there was a major bank who's being sued. Was
because 2 major banks,
$450 million just to one person.
Yeah,
one company.
I know, it's crazy. So here's the thing. So I've been working with my businesses, and you know, we're scrambling to make sure, you know, the last couple of shows I've been telling you I've been busy, and I have, and it's answering these questions and doing all this stuff. And I said I need help, and I reached out to a couple of guys that I do work with. My attorney Anthony Acampora from who's a managing partner of Silverman Acampora. I teamed up with him, and also Nick Pasquarosa from Bookkeeper 360. And we put together.
Hold on 1 second. We got Chiaffi, we got Pasquarosa, if I'm mentioning it right.
That's right.
And what is the gentleman's name?
Acampora.
There you go. So it's 3 Italian gentlemen and 1 Jew.
So basically, what's going to happen is when they come on the screen, it's going to be, okay, which one doesn't fit?
Exactly. Right? And I guess it would be moi.
It would be you, right?
It would be me, but I will surprise everybody.
We got together because we all have different levels of expertise in different things. And, you know, we came together and said, hey, let's join forces and let's help people. We're not doing this to grab a quick buck or anything like that. As a matter of fact, we got some free programs where we're not looking for anything. We're giving you stuff.
Advice.
So advice. Well, not only advice, I put one of my video programs in there and a couple other things. So I want to introduce, you know, let's welcome Anthony Acampora from Silverman Acampora, and also Nick Pasquarosa from Bookkeeper 360. Hey, Nick. Hey, Anthony. How you doing? Nick, yeah, there you go. Hey, guys. How you doing tonight?
What's up? I'm doing great.
Good evening, guys.
Good evening. What's up, Norman?
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So, Anthony, you and I, we've been having a lot of discussions about this stuff and the things that have been happening. Nick, you and I have also been having a lot of discussions.
What did these 2 gentlemen do? Why didn't you tell everybody what they do?
So Anthony Acampora is the managing partner of Silverman Acampora. You know, tell us a little bit about Silverman Acampora and what you guys do and what you specialize in, Anthony.
So thank you. Thanks for having me. Silverman Acampora is a business law firm in Jericho. We like to think of ourselves as businessmen who happen to practice law, not lawyers who work with business people. And I think that gives us a tremendous advantage. And we do everything a business that needs, from the small startup to PSEG Long Island and bigger public companies. So we're pretty much covered from start to finish.
And Nick, what you all about?
So Bookkeeper 360 is a accounting platform for small businesses. We work with a few hundred small businesses across the country. We do all aspects of finance, whether it's bookkeeping, bill pay, back office functions. payroll, and CFO advisory. We help guide businesses to their path of success.
So you guys would be perfect business associates for any business that are out there. You cover basically all the needs, and whatever needs you don't cover, you could help somebody get.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we service the small businesses is our business. Anything from pre-revenue upwards to $10 million or so is an excellent client for us. We typically, we're an outsourced service. So the entire, fulfillment from the accounting side is all done by our team, all domestic, all New York based. Nothing's done overseas.
And how many people do you have working for you?
We're a team of about 35.
Wow, nice staff. Nice staff.
Good people. They're all good people. They're all a little on the young side, but other than Terry.
Hold that again. We were there. I mean, I was there once. I don't know about you, but I was there.
Oh no, I go into their offices all the time.
Darren's a fan. He's always stopping in.
Yeah. Anthony, you said you're a business attorney. Your firm practices, I guess, all aspects of business. Within the business world, do you have a specialty, a bankruptcy, or new business development, or what might it be?
We pretty much run the gamut from corporate formation to representing boards of directors to merger acquisition. We have a large bankruptcy and restructuring practice, which is unfortunately humming along right now. We have a pretty robust employment practice, which is also humming along right now because a lot of things that people have been putting off are coming home to roost for them. And we do some trust and estates, real estate. We have a little bit of an eclectic practice in, believe it or not, international trade and arms regulation and import-export.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So that's even keeping you guys busy at this particular point, right?
Yes. Yeah, we have a bunch of clients who are, aerospace and defense contractors who have Navy contracts and Air Force contracts.
Okay. All right. So, you and I, all three of us have had these discussions, and I know Norm, let me ask you this. You've been through downturns in the economy before with your businesses and stuff. What's different about this one?
The downturn in business in the past has been either due to myself or just due to the economy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only thing that hurt it. Now it's something more. It's that hidden enemy that we have that's not allowing the world to get back to where it's supposed to be. And it's not going to happen anytime soon. So to explain a little further, in my headhunting business, everything was stroking along really well. But then people are getting laid off. People are downsizing. Companies are downsizing, have a lot of applicants. But on the brighter side of things, once this thing passes, I'm going to be needed. People are not going to be necessarily hiring back their old employees for one reason or another, and or they will, but they're going to be reaching out for some new people and creating some new spots as well, which will be great. And it's going to be the same thing with concerts. Right now, I'm sucking wind with the concerts, laying shows off left and right, but people are going to want to get out of the house when they can. And thank God, after 32 years, we have a pretty good reputation on the kind of shows that we put out there. So I'm praying that things will turn around relatively soon.
So let me ask you this question, Norm, if I could. Anthony, what are you doing, man?
I just want to be able to see all of you.
It was interesting. I don't know what that was, but it was interesting. Okay.
Norm.
Yes.
Do you think is it going to be just like a faucet turning back on where it's going to be going? Or do you think it's going to be
1 second, I got to fix this thing right here.
Okay.
If I listen to what the news tells me and I listen to what the doctors talk about, I'm screwed till next year on the earliest. I mean, if there is a resurgence of the virus, I'm dead in the water until next year. And thankfully, I have somebody else in my household that makes a living. Because if I just defer for a second and talk about unemployment, I'm waiting for, instead of 72 hours when you're supposed to get the phone call, I'm waiting 45 days to get the phone call. So I haven't received an unemployment check. I haven't received stimulus. I haven't received, I did receive an EIDL grant for basically peanuts as compared to what I'm looking for to help carry the business over. Because when I do concerts, I mean, that's thousands of dollars that I'm putting out there, and I have shows booked, but I don't get the money back, not yet.
So Nick,
so it's tough.
If I could ask you, is this a similar story that you've been hearing?
Yeah, it's really incredible what's happening. We have a lot of clients, some larger than others, that have applied, and they're in the waiting game right now. I know that there's a new funding package that was just passed by Congress. It's going to the House next, and everyone's playing the waiting game. I think it came down to a lot of the banks. Some were faster with the technology and processing than others. The rumors are that the community banks were much easier to get the processing in for the PPP program, and also just having documents ready. We had a tremendous amount of clients just bombard us, and we were very happy. And the entire team worked day in, day out to service the clients. But it was really a money grab. The fastest to get into the programs and apply is those apparently who got the funding. There's no exact roadmap of what this looks like. It's completely uncertain. We're located in New York, so every day around 10, 11 a.m. when Governor Cuomo goes on, I'm listening to what he's saying. The signs look like it's improving, and it looks like the virus is decreasing. There's hospitalizations and everything else. The death count, thank God, is going down. But this is completely unpredictable. We have clients that have completely suspended operations, furloughing and laying off their staff. And Norman, I really feel for you. You're in a industry that's very impacted right now. We've never been more inundated, but we're happily inundated, guiding all of our business clients. And we've even opened the doors for non-clients just to give them guidance during these times, because I know a lot of other accountants and accounting firms that have not even been able to get into their offices. They're scared to go into their offices, and they've, to a certain extent, may abandon some of their clients. So we're there just helping out as much as we can possible, and trying to be a guiding, a guide for these folks right now.
They've abandoned their clients?
I do know there's some firms that are not equipped to do Zoom, not equipped to do video conferencing. If they had client files, desktop files in their office, and they're not comfortable going into the offices, their staff's worried. There's risks that several people in the office may have been sick.
That brings me to my next thing, right? So we've been having these conversations, right, Nick? And Anthony, you got similar stories that are going on, and your firm has a HR specialty to it. So you seeing a lot of layoffs and people really rethinking hiring back people?
Oh yeah, we have some clients that are pretty big, a few hundred employees, and when they get back to work, they're probably not coming back with a few hundred employees. They're probably coming back maybe half the size. Exactly. And I think, as Nick said or Norman said, they're going to play the field and see if they can get better talent.
Right. Mm-hmm. Because there's going to be a lot of talent out there. So
they know what they had. If I can interrupt for a second, they know what they had, and if they were really pleased, they're going to bring them back. And if they're so on the fence, they're gone.
I've seen a tremendous amount of resumes hit my inbox, and it's actually sad because I'm looking at these resumes. I'm saying this person should be employed. This is someone that their resume says they have experience. They've had great employers. They've done great things, but they probably have just been laid off. It's really unfortunate to see the resumes coming in like they are right now.
Is that what you said when you saw mine?
I did, yes, and I moved it right to the side.
So what we did was we created, because we knew all these challenges were going to be there, and everybody's got different challenges. So we put our heads together and we came up with a free boot camp, for lack of a better term. Well, that's what we called it, right?
How did you get that term? What is it that you do to call it a boot camp?
Go ahead, Nick. You explain it. You came up with that term.
Yeah, so we called it the boot camp because my philosophy is that the world and business will never be the same. We have a lot of clients that we have a highly good amount of clients that are in the e-commerce and retail space. They're product companies. They sell on Amazon. They sell in their retail shop. And whereas their retail shop has been suspended, all business has been ceased by the government's decision. And I'm not saying I disagree with the decision, but completely out of the business owner's control. They have to close their store. They have to lay off the retail staff. But now they're still, grooving online. So they're still selling online. So if you're a business owner and you've just been put through the ringers on this, what is really encouraging you to go out and go reopen that brick and mortar store, which may have had lower margins and more headaches to begin with than your e-commerce business? So the bootcamp program that we designed is to give business owners some guidance around restructuring. It's also, if they were blessed enough to get the PPP program and get the funding, there's certain provisions that if you use the proceeds in the right manner, you don't have to pay it back. So any of our clients businesses that receive the money, if it's spent the right way, how it should be spent, they don't have to pay it back, which is the best thing. The worst thing is that they have to repay it back because they didn't hire people and rebuild their business. So, it's all about strategy and helping guide them through that. And also cash flow. Cash is king right now. Everyone's, in need of it. And, helping a business owner understand what bills they can, get rid of. Maybe they don't need that TV subscription to the, in the retail shop. They're not there. They don't need cable, whatever it is. We're just advising on all areas to help businesses stay afloat and, during these times.
And Anthony was nice enough to ask me to speak. He holds a conference call every Monday, an HR conference call, where you get about 300 or so participants on the call.
Yeah,
every
250 and 3.
So a couple of weeks ago, I was honored enough to have 7 minutes to speak about these things, and I did speak about cash flow is king. Cash flow is the lifeblood of what's going on. But really quick, what I want to do is we put together a little commercial for this boot camp. So I want to run that real quick, if you guys are okay with that. It's about a minute long. And, I want everybody to take a look at it. And if you really want to really find out more about the boot camp, you can go to Bookkeeper360, okay, .com, or you can go to grademybusiness.com and get more information.
No one knows for certain what's going to be happening in the next few weeks or months.
The pandemic has put a tremendous amount of pressure on all business owners. So it is especially important that small business owners make a successful resurgence, and we know to do that, you're going to need some help.
Now is the time to start restructuring your business and getting help. That is why we've come together with our partners to create a small business bootcamp specifically designed for you.
Using these tools will help put you on the proper path to successfully navigate your company out of this situation. And best part is, they're all free.
Some of you may need help understanding these tools, and they are complex, we understand. That is why we are here to help.
So go ahead, download our free tools and begin your journey.
Job.
Thanks. I hope everybody was able to see that and hear it right.
I think so. I went on mute for a moment, but I have my iPad up as well. It seems like we're streaming just fine.
Okay, good.
So Darren, can I just jump in with something Nick had said earlier about the e-commerce?
Sure.
A lot of companies, Nick, I agree with you, are going to get away from brick and mortar stores and gear up their e-commerce that maybe haven't done it really robustly before. And that's the time they really need to look at how their website is set up, whether they have privacy policies that are appropriate, whether they have terms and conditions. If they're going to think they're going to be selling overseas, they need to be careful about GDPR, which is the European Union privacy rules, because they see privacy very different than we do. And anybody else, this is part of the boot camp. If anybody hasn't made their website ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act compliant, you should, because you're losing business if a deaf person can't use your website or a blind person can't use your website.
Not only that, you're subject to fines, aren't you?
Correct. And if it's a GDPR fine under the European Union, it's 4% of your worldwide sales.
That could put a business out, 4% margin.
Right.
Anthony, Nick, why don't we at this time, Anthony, you start, give everybody contact information. How do they reach you?
Oh, I can be reached at Acampora, Acampora at SALLP.com.
Phone number?
My phone number is 479-6330.
Nick, can you do the same thing so people can reach you too?
Sure. So our email, our web address is bookkeeper360.com. You can go right online. You can chat right through the website to get a hold of us. For new inquiries, you can email hello@bookkeeper360.com. Also, when you go to that website, you'll see if you're interested in learning more about the bootcamp program, there'll be a banner, orange banner right on the top. Just click that to get access to the bootcamp program. As far as our phone number, it's 800-478-5082.
Now we're going to talk about that again, give the information out before the show is over. But let me just throw something at you. I heard the Labor Department today put out a statistic, and it's a new statistic that 40% of businesses are not going to make it. They're not going to be able to come back. Now that's a frightening number. Now, as a small business owner and others, I'm going to talk for myself, but I'm sure it affects others, is that our mindset, what we're thinking about and regarding the future, is scary.
Yeah.
You know, some people may have a significant other that's working in the household and they're meeting their bills, which is great. Sometimes it's not. In that particular case, the mindset of people of business owners is in a very, very scary place now. You don't know where the funds are coming from. You don't know even if you'll get any funds to carry your business. What do you advise your clients? Darren, you too. What do you advise your clients like me on what to do? I mean, you can't send me to a psychiatrist, or maybe you could, but what would you advise?
I would, Norman, it's a great question and it's a difficult question. I think it's all about strategy. I was actually talking to a folk that runs a networking group right now. They're a local networking chamber that has, biweekly meetings, and they've moved all their meetings to Zoom and online. So that's a traditional business model that's just adapted, embraced technology, and they're still operating, and supposedly they're busier than ever. I think that we're going to see also a lot of consolidation in the space. A lot of businesses are going to be closing. They'll never reopen, as you mentioned. And, players like Amazon are going to be, eating up a lot of this volume that is being taken away from other businesses. I was listening to CNBC earlier this afternoon. They gave an estimate about 100,000 businesses are estimated to close over the next 4 retail shops specifically are going to be closing over the next few years. And one of them that they mentioned as well as grocery stores. And I said for a second, how's that possible? Grocery stores right now are swamped. You can go into them, you'll see empty shelves. It's scary at times. And then I thought about it. I'm saying, well, that's because Peapod and Amazon are replacing people think. So it's going to be survival of the fittest, and it's going to really take you to re-understand your strategy. And your business, every business is going to have to change the way they do business.
So Anthony,
sorry.
So, with all of these things closing down, we are seeing people getting the PPP loans.
Mm-hmm.
I've stated this before. I actually stated it when I spoke on your call. I don't think it's going to be enough. I really don't think it's going to be enough to get us through this. Because I think it's going to be a lot longer than anybody anticipates. And I don't think it's going to be turn the faucet back on. Everybody's going to go back to the way it was right before we hit this wall. So my question to you, Anthony, the PPP, people think, oh, it's just free money. But it has to be spent in a certain way, right?
Yeah, you got to spend it on rent, utilities, mostly on salaries. But I think the thing that, Norman, I want to say to you is small businesses can't look at PPP as the solution. And that's what Darren and Nick and I have tried and preached to our clients, because the faucet isn't going to just get turned on. You may have a supplier who's critical to your business who doesn't survive. You may have customers who are critical to your business who don't survive. So our advice, and I know Nick and Darren will speak to this more from the financial side, is assume that you're not getting the PPP. Look at it as found money and structure your business in the new world order so that you can survive. Because if you're waiting for the PPP to solve your problem, It's not. And Darren is right. It's not going to be over that quickly. Even if the COVID virus goes away, businesses won't recover this quickly.
I agree with you 1000%. In my particular situation, which other people are as well, I'm a single contractor. I mean, I'm just an individual business owner. I contract my help. When I do a concert, I hire sound, lighting, entertainment, and whatever. But I don't have any employees. So I'm not entitled to that PPE. That's why getting an SBA loan or whatever it may be is important to me. Now, I did mention earlier that I got a first payment of $1,000 on the EIDL. That's great. And I'm supposed to get an email or a letter within the next week, either making me an offer of X number of dollars at 3.75% loan spread over 30 years. And they're going to do an investigation. They're going to do a credit check. They're going to do all this other kind of stuff.
It's a regular loan. This is what people don't understand.
Exactly.
Right.
The PPP and the EIDL are both loans.
Correct.
PPP can be forgiven if you meet certain criteria.
Right.
And this is why it's so important to engage somebody like myself or Anthony or Nick to make sure you're making all the right decisions. You know, one of the things I hear constantly through this whole thing is, well, my business is okay right now. I'm not going to even apply for the PPP.
Wrong.
Right. So what guys, what's your recommendation on that?
That's crazy.
It is because, typically, in our environment, and I think a lot of businesses, if you have business clients, you're 30 to 45 days before your business clients feel it from their customers. So you're really out 60 days, maybe in some cases as well, until you feel the impacts. We have a lot of clients that they're like, oh, we're impeccable. We have great client base, not going to be a problem. Look, everything's shut down, but we're still running. And then it's interesting because as the weeks are going on, that narrative and that story is changing because now they're feeling the impacts of their clients being shut down, and it's a trickle effect. So we're advising all clients that if you're eligible and you're going to use the funds in the proper manner to apply for it, and take advantage of the government assistance programs. One other thing on the economic disaster relief program, and it is a loan in nature, but it's very different from the PPP, whereas it can be forgiven. The economic disaster program, from what I'm also understanding, there's a personal guarantee on that. So
Yes.
It could be a very big misunderstanding that a business owner applies and they're lucky enough to even get those funds if they're available. Who knows what that looks like? And then the next thing you know, they spend it to pay their own personal mortgage, or they do something with it non-related that can provide economic benefit. They're not off the hook for that money, so they have to really use that money to hopefully generate more money, because that money has to get paid back, and there's a personal guarantee on that.
So if we could, I want to do a couple of shout outs and get a couple of questions on Facebook that are really good questions. So again, Brian's on. Hey, Brian. Eileen, of course, Eileen is on, and she's actually got a great question for us. So does Brian. Michael Panhorst, Steve Nocita, Darren Zinna. Thanks for tuning in, guys. But Eileen wants to know, is the PPP good for nonprofits too?
Nonprofits can apply for it as well.
Yes. A number
Absolutely.
of the nonprofits we represent have applied for it and gotten it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Eileen. If you want, give me a call. I'll help you. I'll walk you through it and help you figure that out if you want some help with that. So I'll be more than happy to do that for you, Eileen.
Darren, hold it 1 second. Just 1 second. You just mentioned something to Eileen to give you a buzz. Should people call the boot camp? Any one of the three of you, do you help them file these papers? Is there if they're not a client of yours?
Well, here's the thing about the boot camp, and this goes to Brian's question. Brian had a great question too. Is if the boot camp has a lot of tools in it that tells you how to normally run your business, why is it something that's going to help me get out of this? Well, I'm going to answer this one. I'm going to put on my coaching hat and do that. Regardless of what the situation is, you still should be running your business the most efficiently way as possible. we're presenting you with tools to do that. This is something that we've been teaching for years. But at the same time, we're also integrating PPP. And I mean, there's a PPP calculator on there. There's, what else do we got on there, Nick? We got a few different things that pertain to this particular situation, in addition to how to really run your business the right way. So, Nick, you want to jump in on that?
Yeah, so the other resources that are free available. So there's a guideline on the different programs. There's also a sample application form. So if you are going to plan on applying, you know what questions they'll be asking. There's also a estimated calculator. So it'll give you a projection of how much money you may be eligible for when you apply. So there's about 5 or so different resources, Excel calculators and PDFs, to help guide businesses through the process.
So Darren, to piggyback on what you said, we've been preaching for years, have everything buttoned up, have your business run efficiently, have it run correctly. And the answer, and no one's going to like this, is there's a harsh reality here. Mm-hmm. And the harsh reality is the businesses that are buttoned up, the businesses that have been operated correctly and efficiently, and I see Nick nodding his head, are going to survive.
Yeah.
Everybody else is going to either struggle or go by the wayside, because lenders are going to get be more stringent. They want to see 12, they want to see 3-month cash flows. They want to see bylaws. They want to see shareholders agreements. They want to see that you're operated like a real company.
And that's one of the things that we preach in this boot camp too, is, I've said this 1,000 times, cash is the lifeblood of any company. And we help you create a 3-month because you can't go off of history. A lot of people will create a cash flow projection based on history. There is no history to what's going on right now.
Nope.
I literally have a client, a liquor store is one of my clients. This time of year is okay. It's not great. He's doing Christmas type numbers now. December is a bit. He actually sent me a text before the show. He actually hit his number he did in December, right? Which is his busiest month of the year. And he's already hit it. And then we're only on the 22nd day of April.
That's amazing for him. It's actually unfortunate to hear that, but it's amazing for him in the same respect, because that just shows you typically when these types of issues happen, how many people are resorting to drinking as a solution. Yeah. So it's disgusting to see that, but I guess it's good in his circumstances. One other thing, going back to what Anthony mentioned, and it was about having your information properly available. One thing I was very impressed by were the payroll companies. Every single one of our clients at Bookkeeper 360, everyone uses a full service payroll solution. We will not do a single ounce of in-house payroll, managing the money, any of that. We will never get involved with that. It's not our business. But, folks like ADP, Gusto, TriNet, they had PPP downloads available. And that was one of the most, that was the basis of the PPP loan. You could, going to Gusto, for example, you could download the templated package and provide that right to the banker that does the underwriting. So that made it extremely important. So, what Anthony mentioned of having your ducks in order and having everything organized is so critical. And, businesses that have that done are definitely in a much better position than not having that, organized, of course.
Question. What do you tell your clients or new people that have a mortgage, and you suggest to them to call their bank and attempt to do a renegotiation on to take the next 3 months or 6 months payments and put it on the back end, and the bank goes and refuses? They say, fine, we'll give you 3 months, not a problem, but on that 4th month, we want the 3 months right there along with the 4th month. Is there anything that you can suggest to them what to do? Is there anything to do?
It's a tough situation. Personally, I haven't heard of anything on that side. I know mortgages. I
haven't heard anything either.
But I don't know if they're asked. I don't know if they have that types of terms. I've heard situations where they're deferring the payments. So if those 3 months are not being charged for the next 3 months, they're being tacked on to the end of the maturity.
That is true.
They're not being extra, 4 months in, 4 months up front and 4 months. I don't believe that.
Not 4 months up front. They're waiving the 3 months to put it on the back end.
Yes.
But on that, okay, those banks are great. On the 4th month, you pay your regular mortgage. But there are
Right.
certain banks out there that are saying, fine, we'll give you 3 months, but that fourth month, we want it all back.
Well, I would
So
say I've represented
I know people
banks.
that are going through that.
I've
That
represented
sucks.
banks for 38 years. Those banks are just being unrealistic because
Exactly.
if you can't make your payments on a monthly basis for the first 3 months,
Of course.
you're not going to be able to pay a lump sum quarter of your mortgage. It just makes no sense. And I'm not going to mention any names. If there are a couple of local banks throughout this crisis that have absolutely been fantastic. Get it. Understand that this is a time of crisis. We're all supposed to work together and see if we can get it done. They help clients with PPE. They help clients with restructuring. So, the problem you're going to have, Norman, is if your bank is going to be that recalcitrant, you're going to have a problem. You may have to file for a personal bankruptcy. You may be defaulting on your mortgage. And the courts are going to be inundated. And the only good thing I can say is if the courts are inundated, it's going to work to the benefit of all the homeowners, because there's going to be some sympathy by the judges that, somebody lost their job, somebody's business went out. They're going to try to find ways. And I know in the bankruptcy court, from personal experience, individual debtors are treated very, very much with kid gloves. Try to keep them in their house, try to keep them going.
And that's, at this, we're going to see an unbelievable stuff. Eileen's got a couple of other, great questions with, you get a lot of business owners who are, they're not taking salary so they can pay the bills to keep the doors open. PPP is for those purposes, to make sure you're taken care of, Eileen, as well as you have enough to keep the business going. So, I implore you, give me a call whenever you can, Eileen. Give me a call tomorrow, and you and I can have a discussion. Every situation is different. I'm not going to say it works for everybody. I'm not going to say everybody's going to get everything they need to survive. Every situation is different. All right.
Well,
Go ahead.
Darren, I also think that I know part of the advice you'll give is this is survival time for a lot of companies and a lot of individuals. And there are certain creditors that you would pay before you would pay other creditors. And you start evaluating who's going to get paid first. Who do you need when I emerge? And you make those decisions on cash flow.
Right. So here's a great thing, right? I have a manufacturing client. One of their larger bills is PSE&G. And they're shut down, right? But they still owe their money from February and March and whatnot. And I had a conversation with PSE&G, and PSE&G told me for the next 90 days, they're not going to do any collecting. They're not hitting anybody with late fees. They're not shutting anybody off. So don't worry about your electric right now. That's not, to me, that's something to worry about 3 months from now. Worry about the things you have to worry about. And now's the time to really look at, do you really need this expense? Because a lot of companies, especially in the times that we've had over the last few years, they get a little fat, and you spend money on stuff you really can do without. So now's the time to really find that out. So Anthony, let me ask you, you're not a divorce attorney per se, but, with businesses, with partnerships, and even corporations, right? Are you seeing that a lot of partnerships are being strained by this and are having issues? And were they prepared? Because we talk about having contingency planning. Like Anthony and I have a couple of common clients, and it took us a while, but we got one of them to come up with a contingency plan if something should happen to one of the other partners or not. And sure enough, something happened, and it worked out well because they were ready for it. So, Anthony, tell us a little bit about how companies really should prepare now for not only now, but the future.
Sure. So to answer the first part of your question, yes, we have a number of clients or been approached by a number of new clients who are fed up with their partner, want out of the business, think it's time to retire. This is a life-changing event, and people are reevaluating how they live their lives and how they operate their businesses. Unfortunately, many of those businesses don't have the proper shareholders agreements or operating agreements that you would need to make a split amicable or easy. And, quick primer on corporate governance in New York. You don't need a shareholders agreement. You don't really need an operating agreement. New York State.
What is a shareholders agreement? You hear about operating agreements and that, but what's a shareholders agreement?
Basically the same thing as an operating agreement. Most people think of it as a buy-sell. So what happens if Nick and I are shareholders and you're a shareholder and Nick wants to retire, or Nick wants to sell, or Nick dies, or we're pissed off and we want to get rid of Nick? That's what the agreement talks about. Now, New York State has a very bare bones outline of what you would do, but it's not our deal. So if it was the three of us, we would have our own deal, and it would be a third, or maybe it's not. Maybe it's 50% is Darren and 25% is Nick, 25% is Anthony. And it lays out, when there's nobody pointing guns at each other, how you want to operate the business and what you're going to do when the business maybe goes south. A lot of those clients that have approached us recently don't have those documents. And that leads to expensive and long-standing litigation, and that's not what we want to do. We want to get that buttoned up.
It becomes a divorce without a prenuptial agreement, right?
Exactly, that's what it is.
So it's looking at these agreements are like prenuptial agreements. We're saying, hey, we're going into this arrangement and this is how we're going to run it. And if something goes awry, this is how it's going to be handled.
Oh, that's any business agreement. That's the way you set your groundwork.
And as Darren will tell you, in a few of our mutual clients, there's a little bit of give and take, and it's a tough conversation about what happens if. And it took us how long, Darren? A few months, maybe 6 months, maybe a year to get, he's smiling. It was a little longer.
Well, no, to get him to sit down and talk about it took us a couple of years.
Right.
And then finally it took us almost a year once we start, because there were times where one would get out of the room and just walk out because they got so pissed off, and we'd have to revisit it a couple of weeks later when everybody calmed down.
And Norman, it's not because they weren't getting along. It was because if you have a 62-year-old member and a 38-year-old member, they're in different places in their lives, and you try to plan for that. Because the 62-year-old member's interest is, hey, how much longer am I going to work? I want to get my money out quicker. And the 38-year-old is in for the long haul. So you need to adjust everybody's expectations and come to a resolution. Now imagine doing that without any we'll call Darren's prenuptial agreement at all. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, sounds like a disaster ready to happen.
Are you the 38-year-old in this deal?
No, he's 20-something. He's not even
20-something. I don't know what's going on here.
This kid. It's a different client.
Different client.
And if they're watching tonight, they know exactly who we're talking about.
and we love them.
And we do love them.
Blessed to say, I'm not the 38-year-old.
No, you're not.
I told you he doesn't even know what geritol is. So
I knew that was going to be brought up. I was watching the clock. I'm like waiting till Darren's going to spit that word out of his mouth.
I was too.
Knew it was bound to happen.
Almost the whole show.
Actually, let's talk about that for a second, because what happened with that was actually remarkable. So me and Darren were having a session last night about this, and this actually has a really important way of how businesses need to start marketing and understand how to do business. But he mentioned some drug called Geritol. What is it called again?
Geritol.
Geritol.
It's like a B vitamin supplement for old. When we were younger, it was marketed towards older people.
Okay, so I don't know what that is, of course. So what do? I Google it because I'm trying to see what Darren's taking. I just need to know. So next thing you know, I Google it. And I just get the Google results on it, and then I make a few jokes at Darren. Then we continue on with whatever we were working on at the time. But within a few moments later, I popped open Instagram. I was checking a notification, and bang, there's an ad from Costco selling me a competing product to that product. So we spoke about this earlier, how businesses need to interact. If you don't have a social marketer and you don't have a marketing department that's emphasizing on social marketing, I would have never walked into, I'm not buying that drug to begin with, but I would have never walked into Costco and looked at that drug. But they got my attention, and now I'm talking about it on this show because they have a social marketer there that knows how to use keywords and knows how to use modern marketing to get in front of their client base, their prospective client base. So that's that, when we're talking about what the world looks like, that's what the world looks like. As crazy and intrusive that it sounds in some respects, that's where we're heading.
And that's what we're doing here, guys. We're putting all of these things together to help everybody understand all of these things. When you come to us, you're just not getting an attorney, and you're not getting a bookkeeping company, and you're not getting an accountant / business coach. You're getting our expertise, and we actually branch out. We got IT companies, we got social marketing companies, we got all of these companies that are working with us.
You got concert producers.
We got concert producers. We got look, and that's the thing. And this is why you're seeing the three of us, because if we could sit here and I could easily say, oh, Nick's a competitor of mine because he does bookkeeping. But that's not how we work. We work together to benefit our clients, and it's all about serving our clients. And that's what we're trying to accomplish here.
You know, one of the things Nick is really talking about is being nimble. And you can't be nimble unless you're buttoned up. So, think about running a race and all the other competitors have their cleats on and they're tied tight, they're ready to go. And you're out there looking for your shoes and your bag and the gun goes off. And that's really what's happened in the last 2 months. The gun's gone off and a lot of people aren't ready. But if you're nimble, Nick, you're 100% right. You're going to have to be able to turn on a dime in the new world.
Yep. And when that new world starts, who knows? It's really unpredictable. This can last as long as it wants to, in my opinion.
We don't know how long this is going to last. We really don't.
Yeah. No, Norman, one thing you mentioned before with the banks offering those initial free not free, that's a bad word to use it, initial, delaying payments for those 3 months, depending on how long this drags out, that can be 6 months. We don't know how the banks and the government will react to what's going on. And that's to be told. That's a story unwritten yet.
Yeah. It's the same thing with cars. If you have leases or, purchase and you're making your payments. That's it. A lot of the car companies are very proactive with helping everybody. You hear much more from the car companies.
Yeah, I haven't heard so much on the forgiveness or delay in auto leases and payments. I have heard that some dealers are doing by appointment only and
yeah, that's true.
Stuff, but I can only imagine that the car sales industry is they're getting hit insane right now.
They're getting killed. You can get great deals for yourself now.
Totally. I can't imagine you can't even go out, let alone go buy a car to go out. I can't imagine them doing much business whatsoever. Although I have a friend that just bought a new car.
We had an interesting phone call from one of our insurance companies that said, a brand name company that said, we're reducing your payments by 26%. All right. Wow. And it's not something that you have to pay back. We're just doing it to help all our clients, which I saw then another company offered the same thing on TV today. So it seems that these major companies, the Liberties and Allstates and, that kind of company are feeling it, and they're feeling for their people. Yeah.
Well, I think they're also doing this in a proactive manner because they don't want to be that company that's not doing it. And then they're seeing their clients seeing another competitor doing it. And the thing is, people are looking to cut expenses, and us as advisors, we're recommending to cut expenses.
Sure.
We're not recommending someone to cut their insurance necessarily, but something that they can live without right now. We're advising that to preserve cash flow. I have seen some car manufacturers offering, as low as 0% for like 84 months. It's really it's starting to look very desperate out there for certain industries.
And here's one tip that I want to give, and I mentioned it in a talk when I did Anthony's talk is, your business owner, reach out to your clients, reach out to your vendors, be proactive, talk to them, find out what's going on with them so you can get a better gauge as to what's going to be going on with you when you start up again. Or if you're going now, maybe you can figure something better out. Like my client with the liquor store, you know what he realized? If I put a website up and let people deliver it, my sales will go through the roof. And that's exactly what happened. He put up a website where you can actually order online and then start buying like crazy.
Yep.
And he's killing it right now because he looked at a different way of doing business. Because before it was come into the store, look what you want, pick it out, and do that. And we all know in this day and age, people just like to go online, click a couple of buttons, and then have it show up at the door. I mean, that's where retail business is going.
Everyone wants instant gratification.
Yeah.
It's getting to that witching hour.
It's getting, yeah. I mean, we're guys.
Do you have any events coming up, guys, that you want to talk about, that you want to put out there?
None
seminars, lectures, anything going on?
Nothing necessarily in the pipeline on our end yet, but if we do, it'll be posted on our website.
Yeah, be sure to send it to us. We'll help you with that.
Great.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, Nick is the president of the board of Canine Companions right here on Long Island, right?
Yeah.
And so they're doing great work, and I'm sure they still need support and they need things that are going on. So, we'll feed you information as we get it about Canine Companion. If everybody knows, especially I know Eileen and Brian and they were on our show last summer. They brought one of their dogs on. They were great stuff.
And Anthony's with the Red Cross, right?
Yes, I am.
You're on the board for the Red Cross, correct?
Vice chair, yep.
Yeah, so
we got celebrities here tonight, don't we?
We got some
Local
power players.
celebrities.
That's it. We got power players. See, I don't mess around.
Absolutely.
When I book guests, man, I book the right ones. So we want to thank you guys for coming on. Okay, I'm just gonna knock. If you could just shut your video off, stay with us, because I want to just wrap up after the show. But Norm and I are going to wrap up now, so you can shut your videos off. I'd appreciate it.
Great job, guys. Great job.
So, my friend, another week. This show flew, right?
As most of them do. It's just that there's so much to talk about. We haven't even touched so many of the subjects and things that people are feeling. And next week is even going to be. It's going to be.
Next week, now we're going to flip it, right? We're going to flip it to the COVID side. I mean, we've had.
We're going to get,
but now we're going to get
reality.
Reality.
We're going to get frontline reality with our guests that are going to be here. We have a surgeon coming in from Stony Brook, who's not doing much surgery because of what's going on. We're going to have a couple of nurses from a couple of different hospitals. As I think a lot of you know, or a lot of you don't know, that I'm attempting to put together a charity event for 2021 that's going to honor the front line, the nurses, the doctors, the hospital workers, and information is up on the website for those that would like to participate. We are looking for charities that we can make the donation to. And all the profits are being donated to whatever charities we get recommended to. So tune in next week. We'll find out a little bit more about that, and we're going to really get heads up on what's really going on. I mean, I get it firsthand because my wife's an RN and she works for a senior living facility, and she comes home. This last week and a half has been horrible. She has seen so much death going on. And, that's a situation that when you come home into your house, you bring that with you unintentionally, but it's there. And we'll discuss that, next week as well. So Darren, what do you got going on?
It's the same old stuff. We got the boot camp that kicked off today. I'm working on some other stuff. Look, you go to the boot camp and you need help. You need it. We have a lot of tools there. You can use them for you. If you can't figure them out, give us a call. We'll walk you through it. We're not going to sit there and bang you over the head and say you got to pay us.
Give your phone number again.
All right. You can reach me at 844-987-CBMS. All right. Also go to bookkeeper360.com. The boot camp is at bookkeeper360.com/bootcamp. All right. So you can find it there. Like I said, go to grademybusiness.com and you can go to that also. That's the other business that I have now, where you can get a free evaluation of your business and see how it's running. So, and that's free. We're not looking for money on this. We want to help businesses survive. That's our big thing. So, if you want to go more in depth and get contracts and things like that, we have people like Anthony, and he's the best of the best. He's my attorney. I use him, and Nick uses him. He's both our attorneys. So great guy, great firm, all of that stuff. So Norm, what I want to do is I want to leave out your video about doing the concert for the healthcare workers, if we can.
Right, before we go, after you see this, if you'd like to give me a call sometime tomorrow or email me, my number is 631-698-9696. Email norman@friendentusa.com, and just keep it. We're not looking for money. We're looking for charities. That's all we're looking for. And eventually, hopefully, to sell out the house and donate a whole bunch of money with a lot of transparency.
All right. So thanks everybody for tuning in, and have a good week, have a safe week, and we'll see you next Wednesday night right here at 8 p.m.
Good night, everybody.
Good
Be
night,
safe. For those of you that don't know, Friend Entertainment has been around for over 30 years, and what our niche in the industry is that we have done fundraising shows over and over and over again, and I have to consider us one of the specialty producing companies that do this in the country. Been doing, like I said, for over 30 years. But I'm unique in a way because my wife is an RN and has been for over 40 years. And during this COVID-19 situation for months, I've had to cancel and postpone a number of shows, understanding the reason why. No problem, I got it. But when this is all gone, when the time is right, Friend Entertainment USA wants to put on a show and donate all the profits to the nurses, hospital workers, doctors, everybody that is out there that has participated. I want to cover as much as I can, have the biggest show that I can, but I need some help from the general public. The help that I need is not money, it's not donations, it's nothing like that at all. I want to know the charity or the organization that Friend Entertainment USA can hook up with, and if it's more than one, then let it be more than one. But I need your help, and I need you to email me this information. So if you could reach out to me at norman@friendentusa.com. That's norman@friendentusa.com, or reach out and call me. I'd love to chat with you at 631-698-9696. That's 631-698-9696. But also, if there are nurses, hospital workers, doctors that would like to be on the Business Power Hour show, and which is our TV podcast that we do weekly. Darren and I do this weekly at 8 p.m. You can see the backdrop over there. I'm the guy on the left, or sometimes on the right. I don't know where I am. But I know I'm here now, and I need your support, and I would love you to be on the show and really tell us what's going on at the hospitals and at the organizations that you're located with and helping out with. Again, thank you so much. God bless, and stay healthy. Thank you. For those of you that don't know, that was good.
That was good. So we want to say goodnight to everybody, and we'll see you next week.